Peace, peace, peace to the fam. What's happening, y'all?
What's good, brother?
Man, what's going on, man?
Much, man. Another long day in the classroom, doing my duty that the ancestors assigned me to do.
Yes, sir.
Teaching the children, man. Just
Man, I'm just trying to maintain, man, and just happy to be in your presence, good brother. And so man, you know what I'm saying, just wanted to for people that's probably still finding us out there. I see my main man's DS1 on the line, and I'm just trying to give the people a couple of minutes to let us know that we out here. But like, even if we don't, the conversation, even if they don't come through, the conversation still got to be had, you know. And
right,
so,
right, right. And if the people that's tuning in, man, can y'all share this on your social media so we could get the word out about this? Because this is about to be very powerful, very insightful conversation dealing around, African Center education, warriorhood, school to prison pipeline, some political science, you know, warrior scholar conversation.
yeah, no doubt. And man, it's just great to have some like-minded individuals out here looking to and willing to have a conversation and then got practical solutions that our
Right.
people can use. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Something that you can go and do tomorrow, or something that you can tell
Well, you
your
can do
shorty.
right now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly. And
so,
so, that's why I'm just excited to have you on. And so, for the people who really don't know you and know about your work, if you could go ahead and just kind of give them a idea of who you are, I would, probably wouldn't do it justice, to try to introduce you. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
all right, what's going on? Good African people. My name is Xolani Yaaba. I'm a warrior scholar, educator, author, publisher. Soon to eventually have my own school. A student of the esteemed elder Baba M. Malu Barudi down at the Akaban Institute in Atlanta. Uh, brother in Chicago, also Marcus Klein at Freedom Home Academy. Just learning from them two brothers, and trying to take African Center education to the next level, for my generation. So when those brothers, take a back seat, I can just take off where they left off, but also create my own lane. I'm a publisher, have my own publishing company. I'm gonna share the screen. I got a book that I just recently published. Uh, Breaking the bondage of the academic auction block. Uh, it's available on Amazon, but Amazon has been cheating me out of my money. So it would be best to, order it through my PayPal. On social media, you can find me as Xolani Yaaba on Facebook and on Instagram at _Xolani SOLANI Yaaba YAABA. And uh, social scientist trained in ethnography, so I'm a trained anthropologist, historian, and political scientist. So I go straight in. Then I also do street work and political, education work as well. So that's pretty much a little bit about myself, and we're gonna dig right into this conversation.
No doubt, no doubt. And so, for those that are listening, tonight's topic is going to be empowering Black children in the classroom. And what we're trying to do, obviously, is create some more warrior scholars, And so that's what tonight's conversation needs to be about. Um, and obviously, this is a conversation that a lot of people are not having. And so that's why so many of our young people suffer in the classroom. It's a cultural disconnect, it's a social disconnect. Obviously, economically, our schools are not funded uh, the same as other schools that are not in our areas. And so those are the things that are plaguing our community. And this is systematic racism at its highest level. And so the brother that I have on, he's addressed issues in the past. I was able to hear him lecture. And, obviously, by allowing him to be on my platform, obviously I agree wholeheartedly with what the brother has to say on the topic. So, man, brother, where should we start? You know what I mean? Where should we start?
Uh, Before I get started, I'm gonna share the screen again. I got two lectures coming up. Saturday, Conquest of the African Mind through Miseducation. Saturday, December 16, 2017, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Nkrumah International Academy, and that is 74th East, 7415 Southeast End in Chicago. Then I got my book signing for Breaking the Boundaries of the Academic Auction Block. This is gonna be big. This is gonna be major. I actually have people in Conrads coming in from all across the country. African Center Education derailing the Academic Auction Block at Nkrumah International Academy, 7415 East End, Chicago, Illinois. Saturday, January 13, 2018. Doors open at 2 p.m. and I'll start lecturing at 3. So please come out. And last but not least, I have my school that'll be opening soon. I'll be relocating to Baltimore, Maryland, but I do have a potential site person here. I don't want to spill the beans, but we're gonna get into it. But Liberation Development Center. This will be an African Center after school and tutorial program for starting off pre-K through 6th grade, and then it will work its way on up. I'll do African Center adult education courses, jobs, teaching people how to research and do a wide variety of other things. But I wanted to get that out and plug those so you could just be on the lookout. So if you're in Chicago this Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m., 7415 East End Avenue. It's a free lecture. Come out and support. Good opportunity to network. See what I do, and then we could build further off that. So let's kick this conversation off, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, obviously by sharing what you're doing, I just wanted to be known that what you're talking about is absolutely possible. It's not like we dreaming. What you're doing, brother, is working, and the work show. And so I just definitely wanted to say that and get that on out the way. I respect you, your intellect, and the work that you're doing. But to get into the conversation, um, first off, it was something that I had shared on Facebook probably a few days ago, and it was dealing with a study that they had did that said that if you taught black kids their history past slavery, the slave trade and how our people overcame that, then the hundred and some odd years of Jim Crow, and people would still say that Jim Crow going on if you're looking at it from a political and an economic and social standpoint. Um, um, if you teach kids where they stand realistically in this society, they tend to do better in school. They tend to do better in school, and this has been proven. It's not something that I'm saying that it would be nice for you to do. That is something that is necessary. And then, just to add on to that point and just continue to try to expand on the topic, uh, a lot of parents, it's unfortunate that I'm gonna have to say this. You can't teach what you don't know.
Mm.
You can't teach what you don't know. And so by you not knowing who Fannie Lou Hamer is, I have so many students. This lady just sat here and gave her life, right? And you don't know what her name is. Don't know who Fred Hampton is.
Tell me.
Don't know who Harold Washington is. Never heard of them. Don't even know who they are. Don't know who Tim Evans is. Don't know who these people are. Right. And so by us not doing research on our own people and then teaching it in a manner to where our children can take pride in their story. If you don't know your story, you don't know your glory. Right. Um, that's why our kids go to school and they have no purpose in learning. Why should I learn math? Because my example of success is somebody who bag up in front of me and smoke weed in front of me. Literally, kids show up at my school, right? And I ain't talking about their parents. This is just the truth, right?
Right.
I'll tell the truth on you in a second. I ain't gonna lie on you. I'll tell the truth on you. Here go the truth. They kids show up with their jackets and clothes smelling like weed because their parents smoke weed in the house. You see? And then, somehow, some way, right? Somehow, some way, they supposed to take pride in themselves. And you ain't even taught them their story. You a bad example, and you ain't taught them their story. So those are the things that plague our young people's mind. How can they have pride in themselves? And if we haven't taught them pride, if we haven't modeled what true manhood is, how? How is that possible? That's the number one thing that I would say that we have to do is model the behavior that we expect for our children to have. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. I know my uncles and them used to smoke joints and drink
You
old
on fire, bro.
right? But they did it out in the garage.
Right.
And if they even heard or thought that we was coming back there, hey, they would come out the garage, whoop our ass, and tell us to never come back there if they back. You see, discretion. They had it.
Right.
They had it, and they was teaching you manhood at the same time. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
it gotta be some limits. I tell kids, kids don't tell me.
It's a code of conduct, man. That
Exactly.
There's no code of conduct. We can even look at it like the war on drugs. I'm not a street dude, but I know the streets at one time had structure. If you had an issue with somebody, a beef with somebody, you had to go to the other OG on the other side to get the approval. Now, war on drugs locked up the gang hierarchy. Not only that, the Black Power movement politicized street organizations. But we have no sense of structure within our own community as it is. But that's due to, I always tell people this: if you want to destroy a nation, the quickest way to destroy a nation is to cause political, cultural, economic, and social genocide on the children. So, Dr. Bobby Wright, this book, everybody should read this book by Dr. Bobby E. Wright, The Psychopathic and Racial Personality and Other Essays. Dr. Bobby Wright out of the University of Chicago. I always hit on this. Today, the education of Black children is one of the most volatile issues in the United States, politically, socially, economically. One of the most positive dynamics of the Black liberation movement has been Black independent school development. At an exhilarating rate, Black parents are removing their children from dilapidating, menticide public schools and placing them in Black nationalist-oriented educational institutions throughout the United States. The demand by Black parents for alternatives to white-controlled public and private schools far exceeds the ability of present Black independent institutional accommodation. The following hypotheses are suggested for consideration by those Black educators and parents who are involved in the educational process. Hypotheses are based on a 10-year extensive clinical investigation and research. So Dr. Bobby Wright defines menticide as the deliberate and systematic destruction of a person or group's mind. Dr. Bobby Wright also says all of our life-sustaining institutions are controlled by Europeans. That is not oppression, that is slavery. If we do not control our educational institutions, we will be destroyed in slavery. This is why I came up with the idea for the academic auction block. You got the school system, prison system, one system. You got the principal is the warden. You got the teachers as the correction officers. You got the police and school security is SWAT. The classroom is a cell block. The in-school suspension is solitary confinement. The yard is the yard. The cafeteria is the mess hall. The same food that they serve inside of prisons is the same food that they serve inside of public schools. So this is why children's eating flaming hot. A lot of these genetically modified organisms. Also, through special education, children are drugged in special education. So due to them having a drug that they used to taking pills, it's easy for them to transition when they drop out of school to drugs on the streets, street pharmaceuticals. It's easy. It's the easiest way to destroy a child. Is the easiest way to. A lot of parents don't are receiving the same miseducation that their child was receiving. So you feeding your children inside the public schooling system where there's nobody that really looks like you. And we gonna dig into it, but if you think about what Brown versus Board of Education is, and then I'm gonna let you come back in, brother. But Brown versus Board of Education instances were they were racist, and they said the easiest way to control these people, we get control and gain access and control their children. We don't let the Black educators in. They already got Black schools, but we got Negroes that want to integrate. They want the same thing we want. So we get the children, we control the minds of the children, and we already know the parents are already receiving the same the mental capacity of the child, pretty much.
Man, brother, what you just said right there, that was a mouthful. So I'ma just try to unravel a little bit of it. Um, I work in a charter school here in Chicago. It's called Innovations High School, and we're a second chance high school to where if you've been pushed out, kicked out, dropped from your last neighborhood high school or whatever school you was at before, you can still come to my school and get an authentic diploma, right? And so you are exactly right. I'm trying to think of the name of the company in terms of the food. Um, they're the exact same company. In this company, they have contracts all over the United States. Education is big business. It is big business here. At one point in time, Chicago Public Schools budget was larger than the city's budget altogether. Let me say that one more time so that can kind of sink in, so that you can understand. The principal who's responsible for the reading and math scores and science scores of our children that's getting paid hundreds and thousands of dollars. This is not something that I'm making up. If you're a principal in the in Chicago, especially, I can't speak for the United States. I'm not familiar with everybody economic structure or whatever, but I can speak for Chicago for sure. Oh, I know some principals and some administrators that don't do shit. You hear me? They don't do shit. They don't teach a class. They don't evaluate a class. They don't create curriculum. They're making about $150,000, $180,000 a year. Oh, yes. And they get to pick and choose who becomes administrators over those buildings. And those buildings, let's think about it, big business. Oh, ComEd, they getting their money off of each building. 282 elementary schools. Ha ha. ComEd getting big money. Them lights never go off. Think about it. People's gas. Oh, they making that money because the classrooms gotta stay warm during the cold winter months here in Chicago. Think, right? What about those cleaning companies that come in and make them floors shine? Everybody making some money off this shit now. Now you start adding up that money. You start adding up that money. So that's one thing, right? Then the food. So now we start talking about vendors. You see, and people that make the walkie talkies and the belts that the security hey, so this big business. So what we saying tonight? Oh, it's somewhat dangerous. Understand that, because now we talking about messing with people money. You see, but it's no fear over here. I'm just telling you out loud that what we talking about, right? Right? And this is why you ain't gonna hear it on people channels, right? Because you talking about big business, right? But getting back to the foundation of the conversation, right? Become culturally aware of who making the money, and then we have to make sure that our kids understand that you can be in that role. That's supposed to be your role. And then what we have to do is make sure that it's African centered. And African centered is not a bad word. It's almost, you might as well just call the teacher a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? If you disagree with them talking about some Christopher Columbus discovered America, right? You might as well cuss the teacher out. If you say that Christopher Columbus seen black folks when he came over here, you might as well do it. You see? That is what we trying to create. What we trying to create is the stuff that you feel like make you deep, right? We want to teach our kids that at a young age. So when they go to school, they going with a purpose, right? And when they go with that purpose, they gonna learn so that they can create and control the reality in which they live. That's what we got to do. We got to teach our kids that look, all of that funny business got to come to an end, and you got to take your education serious so that when it's time for you to go and check a bag, you prepared. Nobody is gonna pay you for something that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? My fault. I know I got long winded. You
Yeah, I
jump back
know.
on in.
That's all good. I'm gonna read a snippet from the book. Uh,
All right.
so this is, since I'm doing, the book is called Breaking the Bondage of the Academic Ultra Block. I'm going to read 2 pages of it. So in the first 2 pages, breaking the bondage of the academic ultra block, there is a major problem that is impacting the African world community throughout the diaspora. Uh, Throughout the diaspora, which has continually caused mental societal effects on African youth as well as children through socially engineered oppressive war. Street corners and inner city communities are occupied with urban youth guerrillas, which has led to unwarranted bloodshed due to institutionalized miseducation and European cultural socialization through scientifically racist mainstream media propaganda. My journey as a warrior scholar, African Center ethnographer in the inner city has groomed me to do to do liberation work through education, because I was consumed and indoctrinated for my own cultural demise on the academic ocean block. The mental side conditions African children, mental societal conditions of African children for cultural, economic, political, psychological, historical, and social extermination because their parents are byproducts of eugenics, systematic miseducation, as well as the persistent traumatic slave syndrome. There seems to be an intergenerational curse that has enforced mental bondage and white psychological integration of Negroes who believe cultural assimilation will alleviate, one moment, will alleviate them from subjugation by white dominated institutions. In fact, this puts our children behind enemy lines, which is the highest level of treason to the African diaspora, which is no different than the house Negro telling the master the escape route of the field Negro who was planning an escape on the Underground Railroad. African centered education and schooling is the only solution that could derail the school to prison pipeline, because this will counter the colonial education narrative that is imposed through miseducation as a system of power. Negroes service that oversee it as European cultural foot soldiers on the front line for white political oppression, because they have become complacent in their own psychological and spiritual destruction. African-centered curriculum infuses ancestral culture and warriorhood into the minds of African youth, as well as children inside the classroom, household, and community. Lastly, there needs to be a political and military strategy taught inside the classroom to Africanize the next generation, which will allow them to counter their own mental side through physical liberation by breaking the chains of mental servitude. Uh,
Yes, man, brother. Hey, I want you to kind of expound on why did you what made you led you to doing the research to even consider doing the book.
uh, I can share my previous experience. So I was in the master's program at the Carruthers for Inner City Studies at Northeastern Illinois University. Uh, I was trained, by some of the best, students of, some of the ancestral African centered scholars, students of Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Jacob H. Carruthers, Dr. Ben, or whatever, right, you name him, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. in Chicago, political researcher and lecturer Bob Steve Coakley. The list goes on. And I'm students of, these people. Also, Dr. Maureen Bani is a lecture that's on YouTube now called Intellectual Game Banging, Fraternal Order Afrocentricity in Charter Schools. So the first lecture I received in my grad program was called Intellectual Game Banging. So my professor will not name him because due to, me having a publishing company, it could be a lawsuit. So he does a lecture, first lecture in my research methods class. Research introduction class is at the master's level. It's called intellectual game banging. So it breaks down the social sciences, anthropology, which deals with culture, economics deals with finances, money, uh, political science, policy, laws, uh, history, archival research, psychology, which is more like mental health, along the lines of what Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Bobby Wright, uh, and sociology is like the social study of groups. So I do a lecture called Intellectual Gangbang. I let the flyer out. What do bam? He happens to see the flyer, right? So he comes to one of my lectures during the summer. He was rocking with me, and then he was like, "If you do this lecture, real will be over. You will never be able to go on to get your PhD." Uh, so I was like, I was denied for the graduate assistant on 6 different occasions. $2,000 of my student loan money was pulled. So I do the lecture, and I get blocked for conferences. I have elders, people that look to as elder scholars in the community going against me, saying I'm not African centered. I'm going against the grain because I'm advocating for Dr. John Henry Clark, who was self-taught and eventually got his PhD when he was older in age. He didn't go the traditional route. He was self-taught. But not only that, I rock with Baba Clark, and these Negro intellectuals rock with Dr. Malana Karanga. Now, if you know who Dr. Malana Karanga is, the founder of Kwanzaa, a lot of people don't know. One of my warrior scholars friends sent me a first photo of the Kwanzaa, the first Kwanzaa. He has Europeans in the first Kwanzaa. And he takes what they use for Hanukkah, which has 9 candle holders, and he pastes like a white something in it. And then this is where he gets the idea for Kwanzaa. Not only that, Malana Karanga is responsible for the assassination on Black Panthers. Al Prentice Bunchy Carter, and there was another Panther, can't remember his name. And then also, he mutilated some sisters. I mean, I rock and I speak the truth, and know what I'm saying? And then I'm here now. I was railroaded from academia. I applied for PhD programs, and it shows and proves he stuck by his word. I was talking to one of my comrades. I'm working on my second book. So the title of the second book was the kind of similar to the title for the lecture I'm doing this week on Saturday. The Concord. It was going to be an educational conquest of the African world. That was the name of the book. I'm talking to one of my comrades. He's a student, Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, and he used to sit at their feet in New York. And I was like, yeah, I was railroaded from academia. He said, that should be the name of your book. I was like, what? He was like, that should be the name of your book. So I'm gonna do a snippet of a reading from my my new book. So I have an essay called European European Insanity and Confusion of Negroes. So and then I got another paragraph to continue the conversation. There's a movement towards Negroism where there is a waiting space in the gray area. Africans versus Negroes means you have to pick a side, and you cannot be a middleman or middlewoman. Subconsciously, there are quite a few Africans that want to be Europeans economically, culturally, socially, historically, psychologically, politically, intellectually, spiritually, and sexually. We have allowed African culture to be watered down through cultural assimilation and integration. Economically, other racists profits off the plight of the central value system of the African world community. African people in the diaspora have been conditioned for self-destruction through the colonial system of education, menticide, self-hatred, miseducation, and European insanity. Bootlegging integrationist Negroes have betrayed our race by promoting European culture, wearing clothing with words such as quotation, kiss me, I'm Irish, end quotation, period. There is so much confusion and identity crisis not only in their heart, but it is ingrained in their minds. European cultural socialization reigns supreme as an ideology and a way of life. Culturally, economically, socially, politically, historically, Africans have been brainwashed by eugenics as well as psychologically, socially engineered for intellectual destruction. Negroes will continue to serve as foot soldiers for European oppression and aggression because they have not broken the chains of colonial miseducation. Race traitors must be dealt with accordingly, even if they are your relative. During times of revolution and war, you have to pick between being a revolutionary or a tool for oppression. So I just worked on a second to continue. I got another paragraph that I just wrote. Uh, conscious, subconsciously unconscious Negroes are pushing forth the same falsified narrative as the oppressor. There is a belief that if you only read African centered books, that you are more African than our apolitical brothers and sisters, which is illogical as well as pseudo. This pushes the same agenda of colonial menticide and systemic miseducation. These petty pseudo bourgeois Negroes hate themselves so much that they have a suppressed love and admiration for the same people they proclaim to hate. Publicly portray an image of being African, but are psychologically in the closet as a Negro that has an infatuation with European standard of living. You have to broaden your perspective beyond feel-good rhetoric while attempting to Africanize information as opposed to studying guerrilla warfare and political education. These Negroes preaching in their lecture-style sermons are leading our people straight to the slaughter due to their love for European insanity and confusion. You can try. You wanna I wanna
Yeah, my
get some
my my
feedback
fault.
from.
I ain't wanna. I was just trying to make sure you was done. I just feel like, man, it's something that I say to my students all of the time. Um, I know they call America the melting pot, but like that's an analogy that will never work for us. It would never work for us. It would be more uh, beneficial for us to look at it as a salad. And that's the analogy I use. A lot of us trying to be croutons and we the lettuce. Why you just can't be proud that you lettuce? You know what I mean? Like, man, they croutons. That's what they is. They the dressing, fam. You not the dressing. You the lettuce. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't nothing wrong with you being lettuce and them being a crouton. You know what I mean? And it ain't nothing wrong with loving lettuce only. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody don't like croutons. You know what I'm saying? But that's an analogy that I use just trying to build on what you was just saying. Racial pride, cultural identity. What's wrong with us? Now, a lot of people say, self-hatred, like, no, I don't hate myself and all of that kind
Hey,
of.
let me chime in. I got an essay in my next book. So the titles of my essays is I wrote them down. European Standing and Confusion of Negroes, Conscious Capitalism, Parental Miseducation of the Child. I got another one that I'm working on currently called Self-Hatred as an Undiagnosed Mental Illness. And another one I'm working on is Returning Children to the African Village. And one of the first essays just talk about my quest for self-knowledge. and I have a few other ones, that I'm doing research on. But that's the basis of it. But I'm gonna talk interconnect, warrior scholarship. I was gonna do a book on Negroes, but I'm gonna interconnect in my book. This is training new generation of Negroes and what Du Bois calls the talented tenth. But I'm gonna talk about it in the version of the traitor tenth. Training of our youth and children through selective enrollment schools is like the Ivy League schools that they train the next generation of, the men, 7-5 pi, and then the women is the links.
Yeah, and so going back to the Supreme Court decision in 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education, right? A lot of times people don't understand the political meaning of that. Like, yeah, was it beneficial in the way that we were supposed to be able to go ahead and everything is equal now, you know. Yeah, send us to their school. That right there, the political meaning of that, sending us to their schools, right, and not taking pride in our schools is a obvious. It should be obvious to everybody that it was a degree of self-hatred in that move. You can't just call it political, being politically naive. It was a degree of self-hatred in the school, in the decision to start busing our kids from the schools that we were at already, where our people were employed at already, right? And sending them over to the white schools. Instead of demanding the resources for our schools, you know, literally, we lost politically hugely after we had won the court case. So we won the battle, but we lost the war, so to speak. That's one thing. The second thing, and building on what you were saying, the talented tenth and their traitorism, right? How you can visually look at it and see it. You don't have to agree with what we're saying. You can go and see it for yourself. If you look at the first couple of generations of all of those Greek fraternities, right? You'll see that the majority of the people
Hey,
in
bro,
those
I'm gonna share my
fraternities,
screen. You can keep talking. I'm finna
okay,
pull up an article.
okay, but you will
Um,
see that the founders of most of those organizations,
you can see
you
it
know,
on the
there
screen.
it is. Yeah, it was there for a second. I
So
don't
this,
see it anymore. Maybe I just can't see it because I'm wait, let me see. Yeah, nah, I don't see it. But a lot of those founders of those political organizations were really, really light skinned to where they could pass, and they were called blue bloods. All right. They were called blue bloods. And so how you were a blood was if you was light skinned, if I could see your veins,
so I'm
you
not
know,
sure if you
that,
can
that
see
made
it.
you a blue blood. Huh?
I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's an article by Stanford, the Stanford report, April 21st,
I can see it.
2004. Black children might have been better off without Brown v. Board, Bell says.
Mm-hmm.
So in the article, basically it's saying that it was the greatest mistake to integrate public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And he addresses it, what's the brother name? Bell is a law professor. I'm not sure if it's at Stanford. Derek Bell, NYU, New York University, provocatively suggested last week, this is in April, that generations of black children might have been better off if the case had failed. And he writes about this, I think they said in his book, he addresses this called Silent Covenants. And I don't know if the people could see this, but and he also argued The Brown v. Board of Education ultimately failed to remove barriers of equal education based on race.
Now, it's another not well-known brother. His name was Harry T. Moore. Harry T. Moore was working in Florida, right? And so his story is somewhat tragically sad how it comes to an end. But this brother was a warrior. Him and his wife were educators. And so he led voter registration drives all through Florida. And he fought to make sure that African teachers would get paid the same as white teachers would get paid. So his fight was for the resources, not necessarily, so that black kids and white kids could go to school together. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't hear about Harry T. Moore is because on Christmas Day, him, his wife, and his mother-in-law was sitting at home on Christmas Day, and the Ku Klux Klan in Florida bombed his home.
Wow.
So for people who don't know about Harry T. Moore's story, you need to go and look up Harry T. Moore. I know people in Florida probably know all about Harry T. Moore, but if we would have established the Harry T. Moore model, Thurgood Marshall was such a brilliant lawyer, but obviously you see what happened politically. They put him on
He's a
court
black man. More than likely.
and they put him on the Supreme Court to silence him. You see, so politically, he that hurt us, and I'm glad that Professor Bill was able to speak on that. I wish I was
So
with the lecture.
That every black parent should have, every black family should have in their household.
Absolutely.
Dr. Amos Wilson, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. I'm gonna read a piece from it. That in the introduction, it's a mouthful. This piece. Dr. Amos Wilson states there is a large and influential segment of the black community and community of developmental and social psychologists, social workers, sociologists, etc., who assume without the question skin color and economic differences, the black child is the same as the white child. In other words, the black child is a white child who happens to be painted black. I'll read it again. Dr. Amos Wilson said, there's a large and influential segment of the black community and of the community of developmental and social psychologists, social workers, sociologists, etc., who assume without question that except for skin color and economic differences, the black child is the same as the white child. In other words, the black child is a white child who, quotation happens in quotation, to be painted black.
Man. I got so much great respect for Dr. Wilson. He is definitely one of the people that I study, and I agree wholeheartedly with everything that he has to say about the psychological development of black children. His lectures, if you got some time, that would be some time well spent listening to the brother. But this is what I've been because my students, they always like, man, how's this gonna benefit me? How's this gonna benefit me? Learning all this history, right? Okay. This book right here. It's called A History of Black Business in America. This is volume 1. It's 2 volumes. What you'll see in the book is that Africans, even though slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, and all of that kind of stuff, they still were able to start businesses. Everybody was not slaves, right? And they were still able to start businesses, and they were highly successful, right? But what happened was every time they would get, ever so successful, they would get lynched. And if you
Mhm.
look, if you look into Ida B. Wells' story, her friend down there, he had a shop. His shop was doing better than the white man. And then they attacked him, and that's what started the sister to writing.
Mhm.
You
And a
see?
lot of people don't know. She used to pay white people to go spy at the lynchings, and that's how she got the information and the names of the people that was down there. So that's when she had to leave Memphis. But this is how she was getting her documentation on
Mm-hmm.
what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa.
And, and then, man, to think about this lady's courage, right? She will put the mayor's name, right? She'll put the mayor's name, his wife's name, they next door neighbor's name, any names that she had, she will publish them. You see? And so of course, and she know that they looking for her. You think
Mm-hmm.
she can? You think she can? That's courage right there. That's courage right there. Going downtown and protesting to stop people from spending their thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, more power to you. Me, I'm in my mind, I feel like we need to not protest, but put our money together and hell, get out the cold, and start us a business, start us a school, start us some institutions.
I'm gonna read some quote. I'm gonna read two or three quotes by Ida B. Wells. She said,
Okay.
"One had better die fighting against injustice than to die like a dog or rat in a trap." Then she said, "Those who commit the murders write the reports." This is still relevant to today, and I'm gonna find the other one. Then she said, "A Winchester rifle should have a place of honor in every black home, and it should be used for the right to protection which the law refuses to give."
I love it, man. I love it. Her courage, man. People don't even talk like that no more. Not, you know what I'm saying? Let alone think like that. People don't even talk like that no more. Don't even talk like that no more. And think about the times that we living in. How we go empower our children, and we cowards. How we gonna do it? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's the bottom line. You literally send your kids to school, make sure that they comply and trust the teacher to teach them everything that they supposed to know in order to get out here in the world and be self-sufficient,
Mm-hmm.
and then blame them when they ain't living up to a standard that you dreamed up in your mind without providing the resources. How we gonna empower our children in the classroom? Man, ask them what they want to do and then go find the resources and make it happen. That's how we gonna do it. You see, you want to get a kid excited about math? Teach them about penny stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do that.
Let me put somebody that people have a misconstrued view on up on the screen and got to do it every single time.
Oh yes, sir.
Booker Teleferro Washington. You need to study this man's educational model because his model for education at Tuskegee with trades inspired and influenced Marcus Mosiah Garvey, to start the Universal Negro Improvement Association. He was housing black revolutionaries at Tuskegee. Not only that, his vice president was a CIA operative that worked with J. Edgar Hoover. Uh, Robert R. Moulton. Not only that, He brought George Washington Carver down to Tuskegee and created looking at agriculture. He tells his motto at Tuskegee is leave. He believed in self-reliance. He said, "Leave your underwear at home. You will create your own underwear." He tells his student, if you can't afford to pay tuition, we about to build Tuskegee from the ground up. Brick by brick, we will lay the foundation.
Brother, the man had such a successful brick making company after he mastered the craft, right?
Yeah. I'm
The
already
only,
knowing where you're going.
the only reason the company ended up failing is because his son that he was trying to hand it off to decided to go into other ventures, and then they decided to they just decided because they had the university built. My point in bringing it up is this, right? Um, Booker T. Washington, if you're not looking at his model, right, you're really not looking at reality. We should have followed his model. Think about it like this. If we would have listened to Booker T. Washington instead of W.E.B. Du Bois, right, what industry will we control right now? Agriculture. There is no culture without agriculture. That phone you got, you're not going to get it without agriculture. You're not going to make it to work tomorrow without agriculture. That rubber, that bus you riding on, the rubber for them tires come out the Congo. Yeah, there is no culture without agriculture. That's why we created civilization. The Queens was like, hey, we just keep chasing behind these damn animals. Hell, wait, stop. This is what we gonna do. We gonna put some seeds in the ground. We gonna make a house right here. The Queen slowed us down, and then we decided to build civilization off of their model. This just documented history. It ain't, I'm not saying anything deep. It's documented history. All you have to do is just do the history on yourself. Our story that's special to where other people put their name on it. You know, our story that's special, right? And so just snatch your mind back from all of them lies, right? Do a little research. If you need books, I got some titles. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to know what I know, you should start with this. I refer to this as the Bible, the destruction of the black civilization. If you want to know how did we get here? Look, Dr. Williams spent about, I think, 17 years circling Africa, speaking to griots, speaking to all different types of people all throughout Africa to put our story together so that we could understand what happened from then to now. And he told us exactly who did it, why they did it. And so now that we got all of that information, all this information we be sharing on YouTube, all this information, now all we got to do is start thinking practical. What can you do tomorrow to change our current problem? What can you do? What can you do? Now, this is what I do, right? This is what I do. I constantly share stock tickers with the kids that I know that do good in math. Constantly. I do it every day. Hey, this company is doing this. Mr. Williams, get out of here with that shit. Hey, but these kids right here, they really good in math. So, while you over there talking about your gangbanging dreams, these are the people that's gonna be making money, nigga. You want to listen, you can. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I do. I share stock tickers. I talk about penny stocks. I showed them a dude on YouTube that talk about penny stocks. He a young African brother in Canada. He got a channel dedicated to penny stocks. I have them watch do live streams and so that they can figure out how to invest some money, right? I guys that I know got bunches of X's on their back and they probably ain't gonna be able to go and run for mayor because they got, GD to the world blowed up right here over their eye, right? You know what I'm saying? Them the guys that I teach to work with their hands. I teach them how to work with their hands. Look, brother, look how much money you can make putting up drywall. Look how much money you can make welding. Look how much money you can make, you know what I'm saying, being a diesel mechanic. Hey, I ain't gonna sit here and paint no lap, blow no smoke up them kids' tail. I tell them the truth. You can go home, they can come home to you and you can tell them, oh, you can do whatever you want to do in life and blah blah. No, 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 no. I tell them what they have to do so that our community can survive. Yeah, I tell my kids we ain't dreaming. If we dreaming with our eyes open. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gonna be doing, fam. We gonna be putting a plan together so we can get this money, so that we'll be able to, be able to eat. Have heat in the crib, hot water for the winter. Yeah, that's why the kids I deal with, they pissed off because y'all didn't pay their damn gas bill before it got cold. You see what I'm saying? And so now they at school mad as hell. You know what I mean? Because they ain't got hot water at the crib. You know what I'm saying? Public schools is this, public schools is that. Hey, the public school, all that is a tool. That's all that is. That's a tool. You don't get mad at the hammer for popping your finger. You don't get mad at the hammer. Hit the nail square. You see what I'm saying? Most people get mad at the hammer. You can't get mad at the tool. The school, yeah, the system ain't gonna work against itself. That go for church, that go for TV, that go for the school, that go for the legal system, that go for all of that. That go for all of that. Your purpose, what can you do? That's what I be talking about. I talk about what I'm doing. You ain't gonna catch me in no lies. You ain't gonna catch me in no lies, because that's all I'm doing. I'm just working. People that be talking about what I ain't doing and I think I know it all. Well, hell yeah, I think I know it all. Hell yeah, I think I'm mad because I'm researching every day. That's why. Yeah, I think I know it all. Yeah, I think I know more than you. Yeah, I think that. You know what I'm saying? It's not arrogance. It's because I'm well informed. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on with Trump. And I know what's going on with our kids. I know what's going on with the Bulls. I know what's going on with hey, I know a lot of shit. I don't go around telling everybody what I know. It's just that because we're talking about empowering our children, you're not going to tell me about that because I'm a professional and I do the research and I can teach them something. You asking them to not do something. I'm telling them what they should be doing. Mm-hmm. See? And so, what I'm doing is the affirmative. I'm affirming what they should be doing. I ain't sitting around talking about what they shouldn't be doing. Hell, what good would that do? My fault, man. I'll be going off, man. Hey, you can hop back in. My fault, Joe.
Yeah, I was listening. I was told, man. I was like, but that's good. Like, we need to get back to industrial education. You can't have revolution without evolution. You have to evolve. And a lot of people stagnate because they're sharing the wrong information or false information. I always tell people you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You could go research and look it up. Like you showing books. I'm showing every day when I go to class. I would go in there with at least close to like 6 to 10 books. And sometimes I was switching back and forth between books. So today I took to school. I was teaching them through Urugu by Dr. Maureen Bodney, classic book. And I was teaching through Negroes by Baba Baruti.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Last week I was teaching them through Censored by Baba Baruti, and then there's another book called Brainwashed by Tom Burrell, which is a powerful piece.
Yeah, that's a required reading for both of my sons. Brainwash. I love the way the brother at the end of the chapter recap his thought. So if you have not, and Tom Burrell did not have to write that book, you know, he was a multi-millionaire, 5 times over. He could have just went to the suburbs and just chilled out. But no, he didn't do that. He seen the problem, diagnosed it, and put it in bite sizes so that people who really don't like reading and all that, man, he made it so digestible. Man, that's just, man, the book is upstairs. I can't go upstairs and grab it. But man, great book. Tom Burrell, and it's called Brainwash. But look, this is these two books. The sister, she was on Sonetta.
Oh yeah,
This
that's
is the Terren Wright book on Booker T. Washington. I use this when I be defending Booker T. Some of the shorties that I deal with that had history teachers that said that Booker T. Washington was a sellout, like you were saying, brother. And then and who started that? And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put the brother out there, but W.E.B. Du Bois, and the reason I don't even like throwing the elder under the bus, man, is because people not gonna do the research. They just gonna hear what I said
you
and
know,
say, yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know that Du Bois was a student of Booker T. Washington. He
No
was
doubt.
he was down in Tuskegee living in his house, studying under him. Not only
Mm-hmm.
that, Booker T. Washington offered Du Bois a professorship, a professor spot at Tuskegee.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think what's the name of the central Wilberforce? I think that's
Right.
what Tuskegee taught. Offered him $50 more. Booker T.
Mm-hmm. And he
only
went
offered
and he went to
$900.
Wilberforce. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was a student of him. Of
Uh,
him.
yeah. And had great respect for Booker T. Booker T. Washington was the man at the time. People need to understand that. He
And
was the man.
not only that, he's born into slavery. He's born a slave. Uh,
Yes. His story's so empowering. If you ain't read Up from Slavery, man, slap yourself. Man, I want to say it, man, slap yourself. You really should. Cause the brother Pat, man, his story powerful.
and
But
then the
look,
thing about it, up from slavery, when it went through the publishing company, had a heavy critique on Europeans. They removed it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
He was dissatisfied, and then I think he wrote another book that I have
mm-hmm,
called My Larger Education. So he talks about his failures in the development of Tuskegee,
mm-hmm.
things that he learned. And what he did, he had on Sundays, he had this thing that was kind of was like an educational thing on campus called character building. So he would teach classes on character building. So he had professors, but he was so busy during the week, he took Sunday as a time to teach his students that was at the university. So he
Right,
still wanted to interact with them, but he said,
right.
"This is the day that I'm gonna teach. I'm not in the
Yeah.
class." But
Hey, it was my fault. Go ahead. Go ahead.
he's a very important figure, and we need to just do research and
Yeah.
understand like what he was doing with industrial education. Is for him to influence Marcus Garvey and the structure of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. A lot of people don't know that, but
Mm-hmm.
Garvey and him was corresponding via letters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was a section in Up from Slavery where he was going around to the families around Tuskegee and
mm,
was trying to get an idea of what these people needed. And I just thought that was so profound. Like, man, before I start teaching, let me go meet these people. And so he goes on to say he went to one family house and they had They had a piano that didn't play. They had a grandfather clock that wasn't ticking, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
try to impress people with these things. But then they ain't have no silverware. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? It's still prevalent today. You know what I'm saying? We got people that got a whole Fendi suit on with a Burberry belt, you know what I'm saying, and product glasses, but they live in their mama basement. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing from slavery. So it's just, you know, it's self-hatred that we don't want to admit, but that's what's holding us back. But it's another book that I wanted to suggest to the fam, and it's written by four different professors, and it's called The Social Construction
Oh, I know about that.
of Race, Ethnicity, and Diversity. And
Huh.
the reason why I suggested this book was because they use different court cases, they use different things in the news. Uh, they even cited other professors in doing the research of this book, and so it kind of gives you the background to how socially we are engineered to believe that we are inferior or in an inferior position, even though, you know, everybody knows that we're supposed to be so-called I don't know, equal. You know what I'm saying? We're not the same. I agree with Dr. Africa. We're not the same. You know what I'm saying? I agree with Dr. Africa. We're not the same, you know. But man, those my little, you know, I've been dealing with the students with this, and they seem to understand that our problem is we don't understand that we got a problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they understand it now because I've been having my little club since September, and they get it now. So now we're about to dive into the research. Now I'm
Well,
about to hit them with Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and, you know what I'm saying, John G. Jackson and all of the. I
well,
didn't want to start hitting them with all of that until they understood socially where we was at. You know.
but I feel like we should come back and do another one. I feel like we gave a lot of info.
Yeah.
Could come back. I'm gonna share my flyers for the lectures again.
Yeah. No doubt.
So Saturday, Conquest of the African Education, Saturday, December 16th, 2017, 6 to 9 p.m. Doors open at 6. I'll start lecturing maybe around 6:37 uh, at Nkrumah International Academy, 7415 East End, Chicago, Illinois. Then I got my book signing, African Center Education, Derailing the Academic Auction Block. And I'll be doing the lecture along with discussing my book. Maybe we discuss it tonight at Nkrumah International Academy, 7415 East End, Chicago, Illinois. Saturday, January 13th, doors open at 2 p.m. And I'll begin speaking the lesson at around 3. Um, and, you know,
Yeah. Well, man, I won't be able to make it Saturday, bro, but I'm gonna definitely be there on the 13th. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna definitely be there on the 13th, Joe.
and if you want to have me come out to, if you want to reach me, you can reach me on social media as Xolani Yaaba, Solani, Yaaba, Yaaba. And then you can reach me on Instagram at underscore Xolani Yaaba, African Identity School, AFRICANITY School, and then Liberation Development Center on Facebook. Brother, I appreciate you, building with, allow me to build with you, man. We gonna do a few more of these, man.
Man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Hopefully, I was hoping that I was gonna be able to get a couple more people on the line tonight. But man, it was great building with you, bro. And man, look forward to speaking to you in the future.
You
Um,
Yeah.
I know I get long with this, so man, my fault, dog.
You
Yeah,
know,
but
it's good for people to hear two different perspectives. You know.
yeah, yeah. But man, we definitely got to do this again. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I got your math. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we'll be talking off the line real soon. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, to the people that's out there listening tonight, man, I hope that y'all got something from the conversation. I'm gonna definitely start being a little more active on YouTube. I just been mad busy last couple of weeks getting, you know what I'm saying, I coach at the school and you know, basketball season just kicked off here in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? And so my squad doing decent and then you know, for people who love that backpack rap, you know what I'm saying, your boy got bars, man. I wanted to make sure that everybody know I got bars. I'm doing a show tomorrow at the Subterranean. Me and my group Live Vibe, we gonna be you know, headlining or whatever. We doing the last little set. So of course I'm gonna rip it down tomorrow. So if you're in Chicago, you don't know where the Subterranean is at. It's right there on North Avenue, right off of Damon. And yeah, if you can't, you know, saying come on out. You know, saying if you don't make it, you gonna miss it, cause like I said, I got them bars. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk, though. I'm like the illest nigga that people ain't heard of. You know what I'm saying? I'll leave it there. But man, love building with you, bro. I gotta have you back. And man, to the people that was listening, man, that came through, man, love if you still listening. Give a couple
Please
of
share this video too on your social media.
yeah, no doubt, man. Please share the video. Please share the video. So
Your mic muted. Your mic.
yeah, yeah, I got it. I got it. Got a couple of little shout outs. All right. Just want to see who came through tonight. Nehemiah Israel, peace to you, good brother. Peace to the good brother JT. Zeus Flippy. Zeus, what's good? Peace, Doug. MJ Black. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah, MJ
saying?
Black. That's my sister from Detroit, Conrad.
All right. Peace to you, sister. Let me see. Then of course my brother, DS1 man, and to the Alliance man. I love all y'all, man. So everybody that came through tonight, peace and blessings to all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Once again, man, I appreciate you coming on tonight, good brother. And
Oh
love
yeah.
for having you, man. And I'm gonna have you back real soon.
Oh yeah,
And
we gonna make it happen.
no doubt. And with that being said, man, peace and love to everybody. God bless and good night.